have that stuff. It's being able to overcome it that produces the result that you're after.
That's exactly it. Everything only exists by contrast. If you want everything to be positive and you want to wish away all negativity, well, then positivity doesn't exist. If you wish away all sadness and all fucking pain, then the pleasure doesn't exist. So the point is I told my wife, I don't believe in happiness. I like contentment is what I'm after. When there's just no actual issue. And I'm working towards becoming who I'm happily dissatisfied at all times. So I look at that as contentment.
Yeah, it makes sense. One of the things that you said is you said so that men can give themselves away. This is what you said a minute ago. I'm really curious about that, like, because you're talking about becoming this ideal version of who you are, so that you can give yourself away. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Just at a certain point, you're always going to be accustomed to you. Like you're going to wake up you. You're not that thrilled about where you're at. So the point is when you teach other people, when you take a broken soul, a broken individual under your wing, when you give them their power back, that's truly what's going to be the measure of a man. When someone leaves your presence, do they leave better or worse? That can tell you everything about yourself. And so I used to take these addicts in prison. I used to take these broken individuals in prison, these guys with lack of confidence, and I would I would instill what I had in them. The only way we're ever going to keep what we have for ourselves is to give it away. And the fact is that's why the richest people start giving their wealth away. That's why in drug groups and everything they tell you to get someone else sober. I mean, this is the realest thing. We have to we're meant to pass on. We're an interdependent society. We're not meant to be recluses. And any bitch of a man that is like in his later stages of life that's like, I'm just doing this for me. Like, he really hasn't figured it out. I'm always like, okay, so you're 37 and you're still just doing it for you. You haven't moved on to anybody else yet? How the fuck? You know? And the point is exponentially, the more people we can bring worth to their lives nowadays, especially with the internet, can turn into a thriving business. Like I've built with Watson Fit. I've changed so many people's diet. You're raising your discipline with these 5 choices a day to choose purpose over pleasure, which brings up your discipline so much that your weakness shows itself. You don't fall victim to it. You can discipline all day. And your wake up time, which I call gratitude. I just call a man who wakes up early grateful. A man who doesn't wake up early, I know in his head, he said, I don't want to get up today, and fuck that. They must not know someone who can't get up today. Someone with no legs, someone in your life in prison. They must not keep that ready in their heart to be strong enough to emotionally motivate them to get the fuck up. Because that day when they can't get up no more, they're going to be pissed they ever thought that. And above all, the rate of vibration increase. People are like, I don't like exercise, I don't like weight training or body weight training, push-ups or jogging, whatever you like for exercise. I refer to that as ROV increase. The rate of vibration, the energy level, the energy exchange. Energy exchange is the language of the universe. It's the universal language. And when you just come in with that energy, you can command people better. You can get them, you can inspire them. It's not about manipulation when I say command. It's about inspiration, getting people to be their best selves so that you can create these assets around you opposed to these liabilities that we create when we have shitty energy, shitty responses, and we're just being a shitty motherfucker in general.
Man, that's awesome. So here's an interesting thing. You know, like, I'll explain it from my perspective. I used to be a guy who would have been intimidated by you. Not only your physical appearance, but the way that you're speaking, your level of energy. Do you find that there are people who are intimidated by you? And if that's the case, where does that come from? Like, why do they feel that way?
When you see someone doing better than you, or excelling in any area that you're not, you're either inspired or your insecurities come to the forefront. You gotta realize that if you're insecure about something, someone's speech, someone's financial status, someone's body, then that's a direct pinpoint of where you start. I mean, over time to where it felt so sickening to me to not feel 100% of myself when it was just such an easy choice. Get the fuck up, put 30 to an hour and a half into a crazy workout, depending on how I'm feeling, 30 minutes to an hour and a half, and then track those foods that aren't causing regret. Regret's your guideline. If you consistently eat these foods and eat in this manner that causes you to regret, something needs to fucking change. That's the hookup. Regret is your guideline, something needs to change. Your conscience is telling you something bad is coming from this decision, whether it's poor health or massively poor mental health from doing yourself in physically. People don't realize how bad that is to do to their people. Like, you cannot put that energy on your kids, like coming to the beach. How much time is wasted from a father or an overweight mother when they just can't even be in the moment? They say they're in the moment, but they're not really in the moment because they're selfish. Their self-talk is selfish when they're at the beach. They're not secure. They don't feel good. They want to go home because they're not comfortable. And the fact is, you can negate all that. It may take a couple years for the people who are massively overweight, but it may just take a few months for them to gain that confidence back and not give a fuck how they feel because they worked for it that day. I mean, the point is everyone's missing the point. Everything's fucking earned. Internally and externally, everything is earned.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a mindset shift. I actually heard you say this the other day, or I can't remember where I heard it, but you said something to the effect of those people who, won't work out, won't go do their thing, that cognitive dissonance you were talking about. It's just selfish. Like, if you're a father, you have to take care of yourself so that you can show up fully for your kids, or your employees, or your colleagues, or whoever
now close.
Started to get on the path of like changing and improving and growing and evolving and getting your mind right. I imagine there was times that you wanted to revert, or you were tempted to revert, or you had other people around you pushing you to a different path. Like, what was the hardest point where you had to overcome the decision to improve who you were as a man?
I mean, I just always was about easy money. I was always like, I had institutional sophistication above the rest. Like, these guys, they didn't see what I saw. So I found ways for us to profit in there really quickly. It was really easy for me to see the loopholes and find the routes for us to financially gain. And when your back's against the wall, that's when it shows who you are. And one time, the last time I relapsed is when I went for that easy money. And in there, it's heroin and speed and the dealing of fucking. And I mean, we found the easy way to pull it off. And because I just had that eye for that type of shit. The way everyone else was doing it was so fucking old-fashioned that it wasn't working no more. And I made it happen real quick, and then everybody profited really well. It turned into me taking a dabble of some white and then drinking some prison wine again, and I went off the fucking rocker. I got drunk on power again. I was making sometimes up to $1,000 a day in prison, 2,000, and just sitting there fucking like, yeah, thinking I was the shit. I mean, you're selling a 50 paper of heroin and speed, like literally, you get a gram off the street. I mean, you get them for like $50 or something, like less than that even. And then a 50 paper is like, you can get like 11 50 papers out of a gram, and then these are going to go for $50, and they're going to sell like, you're never not going to sell them in prison.
Right.
So you're making 5 times what you would off a gram. And if you're getting fucking a couple ounces, you're making a shitload of money. But the point is I just got drunk on the power. I started using again. And then I ended up going right into violence. So then I'm not done. So I saw what I was doing.
Triceps
I was looking for happiness in the same
close.
time. Some of them find it, some. And
Triceps.
It's still, whether it's truly authentic or not, I don't believe so.
Rambo.
Because I'm one of the few who stuck to it when he got out. A lot of people find a lot of things in there. A lot of them go back really quick, though. So the point is, I mean, it just became real clear to me. I had to stop when my life was over. And I just cherished my life too much. I wasn't going to keep going down that route. But I did fuck up again was the point. With the answer to your question, I did fuck up again. And I mean, that's the message to everybody. Just because you got on the path and you got off a little bit, I mean, doesn't mean you got to just get back on. The point is once you start the path, the only two failures in life is to never start the path, and the other is to stop once you started. You can fuck up. People are going to fuck up. I've fucked up. I love to share my fuck ups. I like to share my fuck ups more than I like to share all the success I've had, because it's what's real to me. It's what keeps me getting more success.
A fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. At up to 100 times more potent than morphine, the tiniest amount of illegal fentanyl is all it takes to cause an overdose. Fentanyl can be mixed into
30
heroin,
dips.
cocaine, pressed pills,